Hey guys, welcome to the We Need to Calm Down podcast. I'm Devon,
And I'm Joe.
and this is a show where we talk about all things Taylor Swift.
That's right. This is the show where two friends finally get to let their dedication to 10 Cent's most influential global artist, Taylor Swift, fly. I'm trying something new.
We'll be discussing everything from song breakdowns, Taylor news, and our insane fan theories.
But honestly, before we get into that, do you want to start with some non Taylor talk? Because things are heating up.
Some non Taylor fan theories? Sure. So I think it was either last week's banter or the week before that's banter. I want to say 2 episodes ago. We talked about the song Driver's License by Olivia
Mhm.
Rodrigo and how it emotionally crushed us. You listened to it, you loved it, very reminiscent of Lord. She is Taylor Swift's baby. Taylor has claimed her. And for a while it was just, we were all sad with Olivia, but then something happened.
Yeah. Another in terms of me, what happened last 2 weeks ago is someone I'd never heard of came out with a new song that is breaking records all over the place. And then recently, another person I've never heard of came out with another song in relation to it.
Yeah, so the song in reference is the song Skin by Sabrina Carpenter, which is thought to be the rebuttal to the song Driver's License. And
Oh,
I
it's it there's no way it's not. This
I
is like
have a
the equivalent
lot
of
to
a diss
say
track.
about it. I have a lot to say about it. So, first things first, before we even discuss this, I do not want to pit two women against each other. I think that Sabrina is kind of doing it. She's kind of doing the thing, but I don't want because at the end of the day, they're fighting over this Josh guy.
It
Someone called him the white bread version of Shawn Mendes, who's already white
that's
bread.
that's a double. It's so bad. That's so bad.
Super Wonder white bread guy over here, Josh.
Oh my
So
gosh.
I think that her intentions were in the wrong place. I think that she interpreted this song that was about her being sad at Joshua, and she's like, you're probably with this blonde girl who, I'm insecure about because she's so pretty. And then Sabrina was like, yeah, I'm effing your man. Like, just kind of
It's
out of nowhere.
it's so weird because when I was listening to Driver's License on repeat, never once did I go, "Wow, she's really dissing this girl."
Mm-hmm.
Never once did I even think about the girl involved. None of Driver's License seems like she's coming at Sabrina Carpenter in any way, shape, or form. Yeah, she like kind of in an essence name drops her or like description drops her. But like I think someone mentioned to me that the original lyric in Driver's License was going to be brunette girl,
Well, because
and
I
she
think she
changed
was
it to
brunette at the
blonde.
time.
Oh, gotcha. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but like, yeah, in Skin, she then originally said she says like maybe nothing else rhymes with blonde, like, or maybe the rhyme had to be blonde or something. It's
Yeah.
like I feel part of
Well, there
me.
was that, and then there was also the lyric about like driving you mad or something, or drive something like that.
Maybe we could have been friends in another. Oh my gosh! Like it's just like don't get me wrong, Skin's a great song. It is still a good song. I enjoy it, but like it just feels like irrelevant. Like it feels like you just picked a fight that wasn't there. It feels like you're kind of trying to, in a way, I don't want to like put this out there, but it feels like she's leeching onto the success of Driver's License and trying to build some success of her own based on it.
People are saying this could all just be an orchestrated publicity stunt. I don't think
I
it is
believe
with
it.
Olivia's because I think that's really
Oh, not with
emotional, but
Olivia's.
I think because she had I was watching a TikTok, like all these people helped write the song with her. So it's not just like this, oh, well, I'm really mad. I feel bad because I hope Sabrina didn't intentionally be like, I'm gonna be mean today. I hope that it's just the terrible music industry that's like, hey, we're gonna get you a lot of streams. We're gonna get people talking about you. Let's just do this thing. She was kind of like, well, I mean, I guess, sure, whatever. Like I hope that's the case because I really don't like seeing two young girls being pit against each other like this. Like I don't want there to be any hate towards one of them. I think that she is, if it was her decision, she's kind of making like a mountain out of a molehill. Like, oh, instead of being mad at Josh, who, might just do this to Sabrina, I'm just gonna come at the girl. It's like when someone cheats and it's like, well, I'm going to be mad at the girl instead of the guy when the guy made the decision. But then there's also the fact that, we can't be super, like, we can be upset at Josh, but, Olivia's a minor. Like, do you want him to be with a minor?
It's a major as far as she's concerned. No, no, I don't know. Like it's like I said, it's just so weird. It it feels like driver's license is literally like the Taylor Swift mantra of songwriting, where it's
Mhm.
she went through something traumatic. The way that she was able to process and get through it is to write a song about it, sing a song about it, and somehow the song just blew up. I think I read
Mhm.
a stat somewhere that like it's the best charting song in the last 30 years or something, like something astronomical like that. And like then to have this other girl come out and like inter I mean, my friend said like, well, she just put this love triangle out, like Olivia just put this love triangle out on display in front of the whole world. And in a way, I guess, but like again, there's nothing detrimental she's saying about this other girl. Maybe
Mhm.
like, oh, I can't believe you chose her over me, but like
She
she's
doesn't even
everything that
say
I'm in.
that. She says,
She
and
says
you're
she's
probably
everything
with
that I'm
that
insecure
blonde
about.
girl who always made me doubt. She's so much older than me. She's everything I'm insecure about. But that's it. If
That's not even
anything, that
anything bad about her.
no,
Like, if anything,
yeah.
that's just saying she has like these good qualities because I'm insecure about stuff, and she like has things that I'm insecure about. Like, it's just so weird that she's coming out and defending. It sounds like she's defending herself against nothing. And I mean, at the end of the
Granted,
day, it worked. I didn't know who either of these women were before both of these songs came out, and now I know both of them, and I have opinions about both of these women that I didn't know until today.
yeah, I mean, on one end, to defend Sabrina Carpenter in a way, she did get a good amount of hate from some
I
people.
can see that.
There was a lot of people
Fans suck.
who were saying, defending her, like we shouldn't be pitting, pulling Sabrina into this. She's just a bystander. You should be blaming Josh. And those are the good people. And then there's other people, sending her death for threats. How dare you take her man away? Blah blah blah. Like very just misogynistic points of view on it. So I understand that she's just not going to sit there and go, well, I don't want to have people just trampling my name. Do I think she could have approached it better? 100%.
Well,
I
she
think she
approached
did.
it in a way to make money, and she did.
Yeah, that's the music industry.
Hey, we got two good songs out of it,
Yeah.
and hopefully, it doesn't take us back in terms of society.
Hopefully Josh doesn't put out another. Well, he
Oh
released a
my
song
god!
lately, but it wasn't about that.
Could you? I wouldn't listen to it. No.
Ladies,
Eh.
calm down.
Well, I will tell you right now, Josh, from a great advice from me is every time I've ever told a woman to calm down, it's always worked.
From the We Need
Thank
to
you for
Calm
listening
Down
to the We
podcast.
Need to Calm Down podcast. um, so back to Taylor. Wanted to do a quick aside on the just this drama unfolding, but Devon, what are we talking about on this typical Tuesday night?
So we wanted to take a break from breaking down songs. So, in recent Taylor news, she has announced a chapter title for Evermore. So, we're going to take that little tidbit of information and we're just going to run with it. And also, considering Evermore has been released, we're going to revisit our conversation about bridges from episode 37 in a segment we like to call Should Have Said So, since the episode was recorded pre Evermore. So, we're going to revisit, we're going to talk about our favorite bridges, how they kind of fall into our rankings now, and all that jazz.
That sounds like a hodgepodge fun episode.
Yes, lots of little tidbits here and there.
All right, so tell me about this chapter crap.
Oh my
Sorry,
god.
I'm not trying to mask how I feel about it.
So I think Joe's just in a bitter mood because I'm talking about this and he's like, "Well, I don't like it." And I'm like, "Well, let me try to spin it in a way, don't offend everybody." But yes, so the dropped your hand while dancing chapter was posted January 21st at 5:55 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. She tweeted, "A new album means new chapters," with the little sparkling emoji, only one. The Drop Your Hand While Dancing chapter is out now, and then linked it. So, what do we think this theme means, Joe?
I think this means she's selling out.
All right, explain.
So, like, the thing that gets me about this chapter, and I'm not going to go on a full diatribe because this whole section is going to be a diatribe, but the first chapter she ever put out with folklore, escapism chapter, had nothing to do with the lyrics. It was just literally a word that was built around a theme on the 6 songs that theme was centered around. And it wasn't even just like the same story. It was just different branchings off of that one word and different ways of doing that, which I think was awesome. Same way how we got the entirety of Evermore being the theme of just endings. Like that's why I don't
Hmm.
think to spoil ahead, I don't think there's going to be an endings chapter because you already put it out. It's the whole album. Um, but then we started getting into like weirder chapter names like Sleepless Nights. Okay, sure, we kind of get that. It's not a lyric, at least.
Hmm.
Oh, Saltbox House chapter. What could that even mean? The dropped your or the yeah, I showed up at your party. Okay, now we're just taking lyrics and making them a chapter. And then oh, dropped your hand while dancing. We're doing the exact same thing. If anything, to me, it's you're naming it the same way you name your merch on your store at this point, which to me seems pretty bad. I don't know. I don't like that. I don't know. I just don't think it's I prefer it to be something different, or at least named different, or not feel like it's just another piece of merch or an obvious marketing ploy. I'd rather it feel a little more artistic, but I'm
Yeah, I
probably
mean, she's definitely trying to, break some records right now, keep the album up at the top. I think she's like going to pass Michael Jackson and Garth Brooks for some like streaming records or just charting records, basically. So I understand where she's coming from with that. You could, expect a little bit of a more artistic taste. I just don't want to be like, I don't know, you can love an artist and still critique some of their methods. I could see that.
oh, believe me. I mean, as someone who had just recently bought a new phone background or new phone case, like that's Taylor Swift. I actually have 2 Taylor Swift phone cases now. Like I'll keep throwing my money at her and I'll still love her to death, and anything she does is amazing. But like, yeah, you can't just like blindly not critique something or call
Hmm.
someone out on something even if you love them. Like, I don't know. I just don't think that this chapter means anything. I also understand she did no pre-promotion of this album, so all of the promotion has to be post-promotion, and this is the way she did it for Folklore. So why would she not do it the same way for this one? It just, at least in the beginning of Folklore, it felt like she had something to say. It doesn't feel like she has something to say with this.
I think with the whole idea of chapters, folklore being these stories that you pass down, I
Mhm.
think it made sense for the first album, and that's why, because it's still in the universe of folklore, she wants to continue like a big chapter. I'd be interested if, and this is just me hoping, she has these 2 albums. She has these potentially, what, like 8 chapters if she does another 4 chapters from this album. Give me like a book or a magazine,
Yeah,
something. I would like that. And like give
dude,
me
like
some
that's the thing that
poetry or something that relates to these chapter titles.
exactly, like give me something like Halsey's Book of Poetry, or like something that's like a different thing that, even if it's not a, like, give us like an art book or give us something like along those lines, like the magazine she did for Reputation, exactly like what you said, like
Mhm.
something that's like actually like to me has merit, instead of I made a playlist, here you go.
Yeah.
Like it's it even when she made the first playlist, they didn't do anything for me. I mean, again, I'm probably being cynical. I'm probably going to be a lightning rod for hate on this episode, and I apologize for it. But like, I don't know. Did you listen to any of the chapters? Like, did you go out of your way outside of this podcast? Go out of your way to listen to a chapter and feel like you got something new out of it because of you listened to those 6 songs.
No, honestly, I feel like you can think about them and like, but I just never had the inclination that I have to listen to them in this playlist in this order.
Mm-hmm.
outside of just trying to analyze it right now. But I think that's the point. She wants people like us to sit down and try to find meaning in these 6 songs in this order. But yeah.
Part of me also could think it's because the label had so little to do with the actual records themselves. These are things that the label is interjecting and saying,
Mm,
hey, we didn't get to decide how you roll out your album or anything, so we're going to decide a way to do it. And they might have just even interjected in this one and said, hey, you did some chapters in the last one, do some for this. And she could have even said like, hey, like I could, but like there's nothing really to do. Like and they go, I don't care, find something.
mm,
Like I don't want to pass the blame on to the I don't want to put the blame anywhere that it might not belong, but like I'm just spitballing where this could have come from. um I don't know. Like we said, the whole album is endings pretty much. Dropped your hand while dancing. We can go into what we actually think the
how they're connected.
are, yeah, how they're connected down the line. But so what songs are on it? What's the information about this thing?
Yeah, so every playlist thus far has had 6 total songs on it, including this one. The playlist runs about 25 minutes and 54 seconds. In this order, it is Champagne Problems, Happiness, It's Time to Go, Tolerate It, Coney Island, and Hoax, which is a little bit of a curveball because it's from folklore, not from Evermore. So this kind of brings up the idea of, oh, are there going to be a lot of cross promotion? Are we going to see more folklore on these chapters?
I think so.
Hmm.
I think it's just, hey, remember we also have folklore. Maybe listen to that a little bit too. Folklore is still the behemoth. More people are listening to folklore than ever. Well, more casual fans are probably listening to folklore. It was the one that's still charting bigger than Evermore is, even though Evermore's better. Um,
What
it
do you think
seems
about it?
weird. What do you mean?
Just with these 6 songs.
I mean, I do see that there is at least a clear connection between all of them. Maybe sans hoax. Like I can in my head when if I thought about it, like I went through the track list and I was like, all right, drop your hand while dancing. Not even looking at the track list, what would be 6 songs that I would pull from Evermore to put on a quote unquote drop your hand while dancing chapter? And these are the ones that I landed on. I couldn't think of one that should have been on. I should have been on here and wasn't. I couldn't think of ones like any of these why they shouldn't be on here. Um, maybe right where you left me could be one too. If you were to replace hoax, right where you left me could have been like to make it a 6 solely Evermore album. But I do think she wanted to throw the one folklore on there to remind you that folklore exists and to also stream folklore.
Hmm.
Hoax is a really weird choice for me, considering like for I don't know, Betty seems like the most drop your hand while dancing song from folklore. They literally have a thing mentioning a dance party or a school dance
Hmm.
and him letting Betty's down, dropping her hand. Could Peace have been on here? I think Peace would even probably be a better one than Hoax because Peace shares a lot of the same themes, I think, as Champagne Problems, where it's like Champagne Problems is she has these mental issues and mental health problems, and she can never be what he needs. The man who proposed peace would I be enough if I could never give you peace? Like along the same lines. Hoax, I can see Hoax. I don't think Hoax is a big stretch. I just of all the songs to promote, it just seems like a weird one to throw in there.
Hmm. Someone brought up a good point too that Hoax and the One were some of the last songs to be written for folklore. And she immediately started working on Evermore afterwards. So Hoax could
Mm,
be a song that she thought maybe could have belonged on Evermore, if not.
I can see that.
Hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, so how do we think they connect? How do these 6 songs, what thematically joins them?
So, like we said before, every song sans Willow on this album is about an ending of some kind. That's what our favorite parts of this album is. Is it's kind of like the escapism chapter, just like we said, for endings for
Hmm.
a whole record. I think the only thing I can think of is it you're realizing a relationship is ending or it's not going to work, but you're not really bitter about it. just like sad.
Mm-hmm. Just the sad energy chapter.
Not even like you're not even mad, you're not really angry, you're just like disappointed. The old dad chapter. I'm not angry, I'm just disappointed.
Yeah, because
Cuz like you go ahead.
I was gonna say, you look at all the songs and, Champagne Problems, she's talking about at the end how he'll find someone else, he'll forget about her, it's fine. Happiness, there was happiness because of you, because of me. Um, just kind of moving on. I can see it clearly now that I'm from, on the tree. It's time
It's
to,
not the happiness too. It's just like you haven't met the new me yet. Again, is about moving
mhm.
on. Like the other person's moving on to someone different.
Yeah, it's time to go. Quite literally moving on, just knowing when something has expired its time. Tolerate it is the one where it gets like, you just see that she's realizing she has more feelings than he does. And where it goes from there, we don't know, but she's realizing that. Coney Island, that's kind of
It
a weird
it's
one.
so funny. It starts out strong and like starts to peter out more and more the more you go. Coney Island, like where did it all go wrong?
Mhm.
Like you're not angry that this relationship is over. You're just like trying to figure out what went wrong and why it's over.
Yeah. And then
Hoax
hoax.
is there.
Well, no, no other sadness in the world will do. That's the thing that kind of tripped me up because it's from when I heard hoax, I thought it was about a relationship that it still works, but it's sad.
I think so. You keep quoting that line, and it's for good reason. It's an amazing lyric. No other sadness in the world would do, but you. To me, what you just said makes me think that we think of that line differently. I can see no other sadness in the world but you, meaning the relationship is over. It ended. Um, and they're sad about it, but they don't want to be sad about anything else in their life. Just you.
Yeah,
No other sadness. Go
don't
ahead.
want oh, what was it?
Don't want no other shade of blue.
But you, no other sadness in the world would do. Yeah.
She's
And
pining over like it's over, but like I don't want to be sad about anything else. I want to be sad about you. No other shade of blue would do.
mhm.
Like she's not moving on, she's not ready to move on. She's just
Yeah,
stuck with
but what you did
thoughts
was
of this
just as
person.
dark. Yeah.
Is when they pulled me apart. Like yeah, they broke up. What that's they pulled me apart, breaking up. Like I think like the thing about Taylor too is any of her songs, any of her lyrics can kind of be molded, and we've proved this time and time again, to mean whatever you really want them to be, which is a mark of a good writer, being
Mhm.
able to find a million different meanings out of the same sentences. So it's just I could see maybe just like Hoax didn't get as much love as she wanted it to, maybe. And that could be a reason because Hoax is definitely seemed to be on the lower end of a lot of rankings.
Yeah. True, true. Well, so this is just the first chapter. So, how many other chapters do you think we're going to have? And before you answer that, let's look at what she did release for folklore. So, there was 4 different chapters. We started off with the escapism chapter released at on August 21st at 12:18 a.m. Sleepless Nights, August 24th, 3 days later at 12:12 a.m. The Saltbox House chapter 3 days later, 8:27 at 12:05 a.m. And then finally, the Yeah, I Showed Up at Your Party chapter, which was a little bit later and was a direct result of the Betty ACM Awards. But that was posted on 9/21, so a whole almost month later at 12:11 a.m. So the times were all relatively the same. The dates were pretty consistent, 3 days apart, and then one that was kind of thrown in a little bit later because of Betty. So do you think we're going to get the same kind of timed pattern release, or do you think that it's going to be more so of the, yeah, I showed up at your party, we have this one that we're throwing in there?
I feel like it's definitely going to be that kind of style. I don't think because like I said, like part of me just doesn't feel like this was planned.
Mm-hmm.
Part of me in a way feels like the record label had something to do with it maybe, or something that's just like a last minute let's push it, because also we're recording this on the 25th. Episode will go live on the 26th, so we're already what 5 days away and haven't received another chapter.
Mm-hmm.
So, or 5 days as of the posting of this episode. So, knock on wood, she doesn't put one out right before this episode goes up.
After we
But
edit.
after we edit, we get it. But yeah, like the first three chapters of folklore were all the first three chapters of folklore actually felt like real chapters.
Hmm.
Like they weren't like the names got worse and the quote unquote themes got a lot worse, but you could tell there was like a thing about them. They were released within 3 days of each other. A story is told in three parts generally, and
Hmm.
Taylor knows storytelling. She's a fan of it. So it seems like a beginning, a middle, and end. You're escaping, you're sleepless because you escaped Saltback's house. Maybe this is something I'm just coming up with off the fly, but maybe you went back home. That's your house. You're back at your house.
Hmm.
Then yeah, I showed up at your party. Again, she named it like a piece of merch. It had nothing to do with the other ones. She realized, oh, I need to put invisible string on one of these. And it came out, like you said, a month later. This one doesn't seem to have that. Is the same as that one. It's randomly came out 2 months after the record dropped,
Hmm.
which that one also came out which yeah, I showed up at your party came out 2 months after the record dropped. If we do get it, it'll be soon. I can't imagine. I'm sure we will get one or two or three more, just because I think it'd be weird to drop just one when you dropped four the last time.
Hmm.
But I don't think they'll have the same impact, and I think they'll be more along the lines of the merch style playlists where it's named after a lyric or something, not named after like a theme.
So
And
what are some lyrics you think?
all right, I have a couple of call outs here. Number one, and I'm gonna be so mad, is "Come Back Stronger Than a 90s Trend" chapter. I don't know how she would even build around it, but like that's just like such a marketable thing that she's been pushing a lot.
Hmm.
The ones that I think would actually that you could actually build a theme around, and I do think if we do get more, we'll get more songs from folklore on them. I think she definitely wants to like market the fact that these albums are sister albums and
Yeah.
related. So I think we could get a "That's My Man" chapter. Just seems like just like a very it just seems like a very like marketable phrase. One that I like because I actually got it on my phone case is the "We Could Call It Even" chapter. I'm trying to think of any other ones that can like pop off the top of my head, but like I feel like it would have to be like in a popular song. So like we already got this one's popular. "Champagne Problems" is one of her like fan favorite songs of this album. So is "'Tis the Damn Season," "Willow." Like it's got to come from one of those, I think.
Yeah, but then you had Saltbox House chapter.
That's from Last Great American Dynasty, which
Yeah,
was a
but
really
that
big fan favorite.
I guess, yeah.
It was also like the theme, like it was also a theme of it. But I don't, I think Saltbox House chapter was actually planned. Like
Hmm.
I said, I think like the first three of Folklore's chapters were a thing she had in mind when she wrote the album.
Hmm.
I think she 100% said these are different chapters, and she had a big write up about it too, about how she envisioned these songs. What was the write up for "Yeah, I Showed Up at Your Party"? I don't remember. What was the write up for this one? New album means obligatory new, like it literally
Mm.
felt like so disingenuous, and so I'm being forced to do this. Watch it. I mean, she probably wasn't. Watch like her come out and say this is my favorite thing to do, but
Hmm.
it just doesn't feel like the same plotting method that Taylor showed in the first three.
Yeah. And even if it's not a lyric based theme, I think that we talked about fame. It could be about, this whole Dorothea chapter. Can we relate it back to anything off folklore with fame? Or one that really ties into both albums, just infidelity.
Mm-hmm.
The
That's a
smells
big
like
one for this
infidelity
one.
chapter.
the the adultery chapter, crime chapter. Like I
Mm.
don't know, like
True crime.
true crime. The chapter. It's just nobody, no crime on repeat. Yeah, like there are definitely themes, and if anyone can find them, it's Taylor, of course, and she'll
Hmm.
find them. They'll drop them. But I like the other thing is I remember when Escapism chapter came out, there was a lot of hullabaloo about it, and even like obviously our ears to the ground with anything Taylor. We have notifications, we have everything, constantly looking, reading and everything.
Mhm.
So we heard about escapism immediately, but like we felt like there were like BuzzFeed articles, there were like a lot of like buzzing around that. I didn't hear about this chapter until like until like an hour after it came out versus like the minute it came out. Like
Mhm.
it definitely felt like less promoted. I didn't see as much, nearly as much chatter about it online. So you can see that's kind of like the interest in that aspect is probably dying out a bit.
Yeah, I mean, that's really all I have to say about the chapters. I mean,
I have one last thing to say.
go for it.
Someone did put out an interesting theory. I don't know what it means,
Okay.
but if you actually put the track listing of every song together, you add them all together 2, 7, 17, 5, 9, and 16, you get 56. And if you do 56 days from January 21st, 2021, you get March 18th, 2021. So
Hmm.
someone is plotting that something Swift related will happen on that day, be it TS10, which I'd jump off a cliff,
Oh my God, no more.
um, or a music video,
Hmm.
or maybe Long Pond Studio Sessions 2,
Or the re-records.
or the re-records was a big one. Yeah, like those
Hmm.
dropping. So keep an eye out for that. March 18th, mark your calendars. Maybe it is a Thursday too. Taylor does announcements on Thursdays as she did with her last two albums, so
Hmm.
could be that.
Who knows?
Actually, I think
But
Thursday the 21st was the announcement too. Yeah, she put out this chapter on the 21st.
if she
But
puts out another album, oh my God.
I'm gonna be so tired. Like I love her to death, and obviously I'll listen to it to pieces. But like
Hmm.
we got
She
so much to do.
she's giving me, and you're gonna hate this analogy, but I mean, Ariana Grande did the
Yeah,
same thing. She put
you're
out two
right.
albums like back to back, and it's like you hyper fixate on one, you hyper fixate on the second so much that you forget about the first one, and then you
Yep.
rediscover the first one and it's great, and then a couple months go by and you're just like, I can't listen to her anymore.
I'm to the point where like I am like happily listening to my Spotify on shuffled again.
Mm,
And like I'm still, if a song from Evermore or Folklore comes on, I don't generally skip it, but like I'm not like going to Evermore anymore and just putting it on shuffle and listening to it
mm-hmm,
like I was for the first 2 months. I'll listen to Tis the Damn Season on repeat randomly because it still blows my mind. But like, no, I'm not in the loop anymore, and I don't like I just don't I kind of don't want to be. Like I want to just marinate in these albums for a little
mm-hmm,
bit. I want that like August this year comes and I haven't like honed in on them and go, oh my gosh, let me listen to Evermore again, or let me listen to Folklore, or oh my gosh, let me listen to the big playlist that has all 34 songs on it. I don't know.
mm-hmm.
I want some time with these songs before I have to give them up and start a new album. I
Yeah.
also don't know if I want a third folklore style album. I kind of miss the pop. Like I've been listening, I'm not a Reputation head, but like I've
Mm-hmm,
been listening to some Reputation songs and like getting back into like Ready for It and stuff like that. And I'm like ready for more pop Taylor again. So I don't know. I'm excited to, in all honesty, I'm excited to push through a lot of these songs and get to start talking about older songs that we can get
mm-hmm.
into. I'm excited for these re-records. I honestly hope she takes a while to put out the re-records because I want to go at them fresh. I don't want to be like
Mm-hmm.
mentally tailored out a bit,
Yeah.
which I'm getting to a little bit.
Mm-hmm. So we are doing our should have said so section. Say that 10 times fast. I used to have a lisp when I was younger. That's not fun. Should have said so. So we are revisiting episode 37 of the podcast where we talk about our favorite bridges, we rank them, do all that fun stuff. But we recorded the episode before Evermore was a thing. So we are going to revisit it, talk about where Evermore fits in, how we ranked Evermore's bridges on this album, all that kind of stuff.
If you haven't listened to that episode, definitely go back and check it out. We discuss what makes a bridge. Devin teaches me more about music in like a larger sense. So that was really fun. You see the purpose of the bridge, what Taylor says about bridges, and then we rank all of the bridges that Taylor has. And you can then yell at us on social media about the bridges we were wrong about. So, Devin, let's talk about bridges in Evermore.
Yes. So, bridges and Evermore. There's a lot of bridges, but there's actually a couple bridges that are missing. So, there's a couple songs on the album that just don't have a bridge. Most notably, Gold Rush, Dorothea. Joe has the argument that maybe No Body, No Crime doesn't have a bridge. I call BS on that one. I think there definitely is a bridge.
I see it from both angles. I
Mhm.
see it equally as a verse. So we're talking about the maybe what is the
It was
lyric?
the good
Devin, you're the
thing.
lyric girl.
Good
You're the
thing my
lyric
daddy
girl.
made me. Okay. Good thing my daddy made me get a voting license when I was 15, not moving forward.
Yeah. So I can see that being either a third verse or a bridge. I do agree with you, Devin. It does sound different enough than the
Mhm.
other verses that I mean like sonically and lyrically even to a point that it
Mhm.
could be a bridge, but I can also just see it being like a story song. So it just goes first chapter, second chapter, third chapter. But up for debate.
Well, okay. No, so if you want to debate it real quick, so you think of the story of us, which is quite literally a chapter-based song where she goes next chapter. You wouldn't say the this is looking like a contest to who can act like they care less isn't a bridge.
No, you're right. But like, well, you
That's the
just introduced a
conflict.
song I have to think about now.
That's the conflict section of the song. And this is also the conflict section where a lot of action happens. She's going out on the boat, she's cleaning houses, she knows how to cover up the scene. His mistress took out a big life insurance policy. I think that those two are related. They shift enough far away from how the verses sound that you could debate that they're a bridge. Joe just thinks because genius is saying that it's not a bridge.
You're not
And
wrong.
I just don't
I
like
I
genius's
believe it. I believe it.
system.
I'll say it's a bridge. I'll say it's a bridge. All
Myth
right.
busted.
So then so that just Gold Rush and Dorothea don't have bridges on this album. We talked about Gold Rush in our
Mhm.
last song breakdown, and when Devin pointed out didn't have a bridge, it's something you never realize until like it gets pointed out to you, and then it's like you never unsee
Mhm.
it.
Yeah. So, according to Genius, there's only 8 other songs in her discography that don't have bridges. I don't know if I trust that or not, but if that is the case, this would be 10 songs total. 2 of them off this album that we do not have bridges.
Yeah, but I mean that's 15 more songs with bridges. I'm fine with 15 more bridges added to this wonderful woman's discography. So, what are our favorite bridges from this album? Not like doing like in our bridge episode we top 5'd all of the songs. What are our top 5 bridges? What We have some overlap here, but what are your top 5 bridges from this album and why?
So, we have overlap on every single one except for one song.
Hmm. Okay.
So I'll go through there. They overlap. Some of them are a little higher, some of them are a little lower, but they're all on there except for one song. So my number 5 is Tolerate It. My number 4 is Evermore. My number 3 is Marjorie. 2, Tis the Damn Season, and my top 1 has been and will continue to be Champagne Problems because it is iconic. However, when I was looking through this track listing and trying to think about the bridge for each song, Marjorie just pops off and elevates the song so much. And I'm not a huge Marjorie fan. We both, don't like to
Yeah.
be sad, don't like to think about it, but something about the simplicity of the song and then the bridge just wrecks you.
The bridge for
Love it.
Marjorie, I wish the full song was like the bridge. The bridge is that good. You were right when you say the bridge elevates that song to a whole other level. It's pivotal.
Hmm.
It's game changing, a cultural reset. No, it's so good, but like I guess for me, I I have to eat the whole ice cream cone, not just the chocolatey center.
Mm.
So I don't know why I use that metaphor, but Marjorie has like the chocolatiest center, but like it's so hard to get to because I have to get the willpower to actually listen to the whole song, which is really hard
Yeah,
for me. Not to mention, not like saying if I'll skip it, but like to seek out Marjorie to listen to
but
something bad has happened.
we're not ranking
No, you're not
songs
wrong.
though.
You're not
We're
wrong.
ranking the chocolatey centers.
I know.
And this
It's
is a
just
ooey gooey chocolatey center.
it's like an ooey gooey chocolatey center of broccoli. Like
No.
God,
So
I
good.
do not hate this song. I'm sorry. I just keep coming out like I do.
So
I
if you couldn't tell, Marjorie is the one that Joe does not have in his
Yeah,
top five.
Marjorie's not in my top 5. It's probably in my top, I'd say 8
Okay.
of 15. But no, so my the only song that I have in there that Devon doesn't is Closure. Closure is just a song I like a lot, and I think there's also context too. Like we say that we're just talking about the ooey gooey center and like trying to get to the bridge in a vacuum, but like the context around
Hmm.
Closure makes the bridge of Closure so much better for me. So that's why I put it above Marjorie. I think I also had Happiness like as like a tangential. I think you did too.
Happiness and Cowboy Like Me were two that I was trying to justify getting
Me
in
too.
there.
Cowboy Like Me is a
Mhm.
is top notch. Which is I think this is interesting too because some of these songs, my number 4 is Tolerate It, number 3 is Evermore, number 2 is Champagne Problems, number 1 is Tis a Damn Season. But the bottom 3 of my top 5 and the bottom 3 of your top 5 are not in our top 5 songs on
Mhm.
this album, our rankings at all. Like Evermore specifically, we don't it's never high for us in our song rankings. Tolerate It for you is very close to the bottom.
Because when you look at it in the vacuum of bridges, Gold Rush doesn't have a bridge, and that's my favorite song on the album. So
Mhm.
obviously you can't look at it in that sense. But like you talk about Marjorie, like Marjorie just is not a great, or not. It's just not a high song for
Choose your
me.
words carefully.
I know the YouTube comments now, but Marjorie isn't a high song for me in terms of an overall song. I get, like I said, thoroughly enjoy it. But in terms of just the bridge, wonderful, heartbreaking, fantastic. Evermore, in terms of the bridge, like you said, context is everything. And I think transition from this cool, still water to these crashing waves to, still again, like it's just that elevates it 10 times more. Same thing with, I mean, yeah, it's just,
Tolerate it gets like Evermore specifically.
mhm,
Number 1, Genius says it has 2 bridges. It says bridge 1A and or bridge 1 and bridge 2. But it does feel like it has in a way you can argue it because
mhm,
the first bridge where Justin Vernon comes in definitely feels you can tell it's a bridge because it like
mhm,
if you listen to our episode about it and we explain what makes a bridge, it completely changes the tone, the sound, and everything of the song and just cuts you with it. But like the things that they do sonically in that bridge, not even like the words they use, the lyrics they use, which are all great,
mhm,
but like just the production on that bridge and like we said it multiple times, but it literally feels like you're drowning when you're
mhm.
listening to that bridge. You feel like Taylor in the Cardigan music video, clinging to a piano in the middle of a raging storm as Justin Vernon just like crashes over you. Like Evermore is not one of my favorite songs, but I will listen to it for that bridge every time it comes on.
Mhm,
I will wade through that beginning just to get to that part because it is a heart stopper. Tolerate It, I mentioned this in an episode that because it's the song after Tis the Damn Season, it's probably my second to most listened to song on
mhm.
this album because I listen to Tis the Damn Season so much. But like the bridge is so gut punchy. Like it's a like it's just so like you listen to it and like it's so
Wait,
sad the
for
song.
Tolerate It?
Is that not it?
That is not the
Am
bridge
I
of
wrong? Is
Tolerate.
Tolerate It not actually my thing? Why do I think it's that?
That's Ivy.
No, it's not.
Tolerated is while you were out building other worlds, where was I? Where's that man who threw blankets
God,
over my
Ivy's so good. It
Ivy
might be
is great.
Ivy. It's so hard. They're all
I
so
know.
good. Like I was sitting here, so that you're right. I think I'm looking at it now. The reason that I put "Tolerate It" in it is specifically because of the lyrics on it,
Yeah.
because they're so incredible. I think for scream factor, because I think of Ivy. Ivy is like a scream. I will sing along to this song. Who threw blankets over my barbed wire? Now I'm begging for footnotes in the story of your life. Drawing hearts in the byline, taking up too much weight. Like those are like the lyric. I would say like it's a lyrical bridge that kills you.
Hmm.
I think Ivy is more of a like a sing along bridge that kills you, and like a riotous bridge.
Yeah, Ivy's up there for me, but at the
It's
same
so
time, it's
hard.
so short, it's so fleeting that it's like the little rush when you do
Mhm.
listen to it, but then it's just quickly gone.
We definitely err towards the longer bridges as seen by our top 5 of her whole thing. I think the shortest bridge in our top 5 is Wildest Dreams.
Yeah. So what, but it repeats. I think when we look at our top five, we both tend to look for lyrical bops in terms of the
Mhm.
lyrics are really great. And it also just goes along with something that's like up tempo and builds and just has this, emotional effect on us. If you're curious what our top five are, episode 37, go
You could
listen.
probably guess number 1.
Yeah.
Uh so to go into that, do you think any of these songs break into our top 5?
I honestly don't think so. I still think that there's a couple in the top 10 that we have,
Mhm.
like my honorable mentions that would rank higher than this album.
Really?
I think the
Actually, I
bridges are
agree.
great, but I think that just in her entire discography there's just so many good bridges that I just don't think they're top 5 material.
I think it's just because I'm absolutely obsessed and recency and everything. But I think "'Tis the Damn Season" for me personally breaks top 5. I check back in with me in August and see if I still feel that way. I think "Champagne Problems," just as an objective Taylor Swift fan,
Mhm.
deserves to be in a top 5. Just because it's the bridge
Yeah,
that
for
like
some
it's
people.
you look at it and it's the bridge that makes people talk about bridges.
Mhm.
Because when you think of fans, not just Taylor Swift fans, but just like music fans, or just like not even music fans, just casual music listeners, when they're talking about a bridge of a song and they're talking specifically with the word bridge, not, oh my God, I love this verse. Like, no, they're like, oh my God, the bridge on Champagne Problems is insane. Like, there are articles written about that bridge right
Mhm.
now.
Yeah.
So I just feel like when it's that big of a shakeup, it at least deserves to, I don't know about breaking it, but it definitely deserves to be in the conversation to break that top 5. And I think of all the songs in our top 5, "Illicit Affairs" is our number 5. I think that one can come off and replace with "Champagne Problems." The F word gets it. The F word gets it for me.
Yeah, and I mean, she does love this bridge because she talks about how she can't wait for a crowd to scream, "What a shame she's effed in the head."
I think for me too, like to go off of "Illicit Affairs," like "Illicit Affairs" feels like an Ivy bridge. Like if it's very much a, it's like you just start
Yeah.
screaming it and singing it, and I think "Champagne Problems" is a tolerated bridge where it's just like a very lyrically gut punch bridge, and it's the lyrics that are actually in it and the words she uses and how she crafts them make it this actual like literary piece that I think you don't get in "Illicit Affairs." So that's why I think "Champagne Problems," even though I think "'Tis the Damn Season" is a better bridge than "Champagne Problems," I know my own bias, and I'm not gonna like inject that into our main list. But I think "Champagne Problems" might have beaten it out. I don't think it beats out the any of the other ones
No.
on our list because I
It's a tough
it
list.
come rue the day that Taylor puts out a bridge and we go, that's better than All Too Well. Like, you know what's gonna be? It's gonna be when she puts out the 10-minute version of All Too Well, and we go, guys, you know that 5-minute bridge of All Too Well?
Well, imagine imagine All Too Well imagine the bridge of All Too Well if it was the length of the bridge of Champagne Problems. They're
Okay, well, we also
similar.
we also disagree on this because we disagree on the length of the bridge of All Too Well.
Well, yeah.
All Too Well is a very long bridge to me. To you, it's not.
Yeah, it's tough. It's
It is
tough.
tough. It is tough.
But what you
It's tough to be
classify
wrong.
as a bridge? Oh my God! What you classify as the bridge? I don't want to get in this argument again. And if people really want to listen to me rant about it, they know where
All
to
right,
find
one
it.
before we sign off for this week, I do want to give a quick honorable mention to the worst bridge on this album. I'm sorry, it's not my opinion, it's just the fact. Is Willow. Don't get me wrong, Willow is one of the best songs on this album, but Willow's bridge is phoned in.
You
It's
you literally
garbage.
you know. Okay, so I I'm not gonna say I agree, but the only reason you think that it's an awful bridge is
I
because
come
of
back
that one
stronger than
line.
a 90s trend.
If answer me this, if that one line was not on the song, would you
If
like the
that
bridge
one
better?
line was not on the song, let me look at the bridge one more
It
time.
was
And
life was
just
a
to
willow and it
confirm,
bent right to your wind. Uh,
it's not my kind of bridge. It's not my kind
it's
of bridge.
it's still it's a decent bridge. It's like it's a transition type bridge. It's a
It
quick
is
transition.
it's like a haunted bridge
Hmm.
to me. It reminds me of the Bridge of Haunted. And you're giving me that look
Mm.
because you don't know what the Bridge of Haunted is. If you could tell me right now, sing the Bridge of Haunted.
I'm not.
You know what the Bridge of Haunted is? It's I know.
Oh. Mhm.
I know. Like that's the whole bridge. That's what this bridge is to me. There's no content to it. It's just a transition. And the
Yeah.
best bridges to me are change the story like Nobody No Crime,
Elevate the story.
wrong. Elevate the story, give a new twist to the story, give new meaning to the story, punch you with some great lyrics or just some amazing writing, or like Evermore or Tis the Damn Season, which we'll get into. We gotta do like a whole detective thing on that bridge, but have like something in the production that make you think or make your emotions change or evoke something. Like Evermore is the quintessential part of that, where Evermore, like you literally physically feel something.
Mhm.
I think Willow, again, a great song, but it falls into the single problem of it was a single. It was boppy and like intended for commercial. And I think that shows in the bridge.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you guys for listening to this week's episode. If you like what you hear, please be sure to give us a review and a 5-star rating on Apple. Please review us on Apple, guys. It really helps us to get better ratings and show up more and help us grow this podcast. If you have a friend that is a Taylor Swift fan, be sure to tell them about us. And, if you're not following us yet, I mean, if you're on Spotify, go ahead, click that follow button. If you're on Apple Podcast, go ahead, hit that subscribe button. If you're on YouTube right now, go ahead, hit that subscribe button.
Really, what is it? How much does it impact your day of one little button?
Literally, when I look at our YouTube, our Instagram, our Spotify, or anything, and I see that follower count go up, it makes my whole day. Just make my day, guys. Just make my day. So
And then when Joe sees any comment that has any kind of criticism, his day is ruined, which is
that,
why
or
I
when I
look.
see when I see any comment and it says the word Marjorie, I go, "Oh no!"
I send the comments to Joe and I go, look.
Look, you're wrong again.
Oh, well, make sure to follow us on social media, subscribe to our YouTube channel if you want to see our beautiful faces and my little haircut. I cut off my hair.
Oh yeah.
No longer blonde.
So
I'm not that blonde girl that Olivia has to worry about anymore.
you're still Becky with the good hair, though.
It's Becky. No, it's Becky. Yeah, so we're at We Need to Calm Down podcast pretty much everywhere. We're most active on Instagram and YouTube, so make sure to check us out there.
If you guys have a suggestion for an episode or something you want to hear us talk about, please be sure to drop us a comment or a DM. We love hearing from you guys, and a lot of those episodes actually get made.
Mm-hmm. Aside from that, thank you so much for listening. We will see you next Tuesday.
Come back.
We'll come back stronger than a 90s trend.
I hate you so much.